Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SP Patrons video today that I'm making for Yida as part of their custom monthly music review. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track on the screen. As I understand it, this track is from an actor named Yusheng, who I've focused quite a bit on this channel. If I'm honest, I remember reviewing his entire discography a little while back. This track, apparently, as I understand it, is not on any of the albums, but it's titled Learn to Fly. So we're going to listen through it from start till finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go. It's powerful with the guitars coming in with the keys and the strings, you know. Like you see the imagery in the video, and it kind of clashes with the beauty of some of the parts, but I don't mind it. Great vibrato. Chorus on those guitars as well. And that like reverb on the drums there, that dump, you know, it's got a bit of power to it. It's quite smooth with the way it's been mixed. I'm wondering if it's been re-uploaded a few times, but nonetheless, still an effective transition. Nice to have a trade-off to a guitar lead here. I mean, like Zhang, I'll go back a little bit so we can enjoy the guitar solo in a moment, don't worry, but I just appreciate how well Zhang's vocals suit the power of the rest of the mix, you know. In the chorus sections, it comes up with those backing vocals and the drums and stuff like that. So we kind of need to equalize it to an extent, or kind of come up to it, I suppose. Yeah, just for us to kind of trade off at this point to a lead, it's something that's common, especially in music back in like 80s and 90s and stuff like that, but still nonetheless very effective. I love, like, there's kind of a Zakk Wyldish kind of theme to that, eh? That's fantastic. Nice kind of response with the guitars for the bridge. Oh, double chorus. Alright. What are we gonna do differently this time? No, I think that's incredibly well handled. The strings at the end. Oh, the little tippy taps on the cymbals as well. And the fade out with the strings. Yeah, it's a beautiful song. I think that, I don't know what the lyrics are about. Yida has kindly provided a copy of the lyrics, so we're going to check through in a moment. But I think there's a little bit of a disconnect for me with what the video is showing versus how some of the chords sound with the melodies and such. Just it seems like you got some really uplifting stuff going on in the choruses. But then we've got machine guns and like all these kind of like war machines and stuff in the video. So we'll check that out more in the lyrics section in the conclusion. So yeah, we've got the lyrics here again, kindly provided by Yida. So thank you for that. The lyrics for Learn to Fly by Zhang Yusheng. I wake up in a nightmare. I go to sleep in a throb. Tonight I think of sweet and bitter memories of blood that never fades. I'm drenched in sweat. So is this just a really intense, like, wish and, like, devotion to improving things and moving forward and not giving up? I'll go forward with even more vigor, with the truest of hopes. Friend, your words of encouragement, your encouraging words linger in my heart. I think I kind of get it so far. It's interesting language. I kind of dig. I can understand how a lot of this would relate to parts of the chorus specifically, you know. I've learned to soar to the top over the eagle's scorn. Oh, I've learned to love my pride. It's a fragrant rainbow bridge. Oh, I learned to fly. This song gave me courage and moved me, and now I share it with you. Thank you, I appreciate that. It may seem like kind of overdone, but I appreciate music where the singer just tries to sort of show what motivated or helped them to push forward, and they sort of communicate that to the listener. I really appreciate that. I know it's in certain situations it might sound kind of cheesy, but in this situation, I think Zhang Yusheng did a tremendous job. It seemed very sincere. And welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named Zhang Yusheng, titled Learn to Fly, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I understand that this track, as I mentioned in the lyrics section, I think it's about someone, maybe it's Zhang Yusheng, maybe someone else they know. They're sort of discussing the way that they've needed to sort of overcome adversity and find a way forward and not allow things to overwhelm them or overrun them. I think that the track is told with a sincerity and a care and love from Zhang Yusheng. He's singing his heart out, but it's also just the interesting sort of like duality between like the struggle with like the heart and the passion and everything, and that in the verse sections going into the chorus we're sort of flying high, almost as if the sacrifices that we needed to make earlier on are worth it for where we go in the end. It explains why some of the bridges are more sort of minor tinged with the chords and stuff like that. I think that kind of makes that chorus where things uplift with major parts and the backing vocals kind of helping things to soar like an eagle. It helps to make a lot more sense. Zhang Yusheng's vocals singing that song, that story, I think are on point. We're very comfortable within our vocal range there, head and chest voice, that kind of stuff there, as well as simply, I don't think we got into the falsetto part there, but it was a nice vibrato to a lot of it. The backing vocals came in on the side, nice and warm in that mid-range there, harmonizing neatly with the rest of the arrangement. We had sort of core ideas for the different verse, bridge, and chorus melodies that worked, I think, sincerely. It was great to hear them out, and when they came back, it was more familiar. We were never too far away from an established ideal, and I appreciate that. It helps, even like a longer song, like a 441 song, it kind of helps to have something that you can go, oh, I recognize that, and kind of move forward with it. I think, again, like the way we expressed ourselves or performed was tight as well. It made sense that we sounded especially passionate and a lot of those kind of more kind of I don't want to say higher octane, but more intense chorus parts. And in the lower sections, like the bridge, we sounded like there was a bit more sort of like we were holding ourselves back a little bit sort of trepidation. So it was nice to have differences between the way we communicated that kind of helped sort of connect or solidify a relationship between the various parts and this between the lyrics and the vocals. But the track at 441 was quite it was quite intricately layered. We had lots of different instruments like strings and guitars, and I think we had some keys in there as well as bass and drums, and we had guitar solos and sort of rhythm parts as well on sides and multiple layers of certain bits. And I think that there was more than enough to keep a listener entertained and sort of like engaged. It was a track where we had, again, verse, bridge, and chorus sections with an instrumental intro, a solo section later on, like in the halfway point, and then like the outro was a bit more sort of like instrumental as well. I think ultimately what I appreciate about the effort put in by Yusheng here is that like there was absolutely no filler, even though we had so much. Granted, it wasn't the same amount all the time. We didn't really have the drums come in until like a later stage, as well as like maybe some of the bass parts, or like, and the guitar lead wasn't really as evident until later on when it started doing call and responses and stuff. If I wanted to sort of talk about a few of the instruments that I thought were especially, I mean, the guitar solo, lead guitar was a highlight of mine with the way it phrased itself in that higher range there. Wonderfully adept with the different sort of note choices and the scales and modes there. Great use of bends there with a bit of chorus to it as well, a bit of sizzle there with a bit of distortion. I think there might have been also some chorus leads on the sides for arpeggios or rhythm parts, but I'm not sure. But it was just a great sort of trade-off from Zhang Yusheng's main in that latter part there. I really appreciate that was a sensible choice there. I think the strings with legato-ish feel to them were neat as well. I liked how they kind of just they sat there, kind of grew neatly, or they crescendo, they came down, and there was a nice sense of flow to them. There was dynamic range within those parts. They were a nice constant in that mid-range there. Again, like serving a similar functionality to what the backing vocals are doing during the chorus, but less word-like, I suppose. And they never really tried to take the focus away from the vocals or the lead, even though they could. I think the main ideas that we had that were established by the bass being in the root notes, the drums, there were some fills from the drum kit, but it basically continued to establish the chord note accents there with some kicks, sort of snare and hi-hat bits, maybe some crashes as well. There were not a lot of instruments that tried to take away too much from the vocals or the guitar leads in general, so those were the main ones. They built chord progressions that were typically filled with majors and minors. We didn't really have any extensions or like sus parts or anything like that. We might have had that at the end for that last part, but it was more emotively driven by those sort of primary triads. It was a slower song, so there was a bit more sort of weight to things. We weren't ever trying to rush things. It was more of a kind of a slow kind of progression, kind of a gentle care and caress, allowing ourselves to feel safe enough to consider there'd be hope in the end and for things to improve. The songs with this main theme made me feel like even though I was going through difficult times, things can get better. If you couple the way that the chords were played or the choices with the hook, with the story, with the vocal style there, I think things are well connected in that it's trying to go like A, B, A, B and finishing on the B, which is the more positive note. And again, because of a lack of extensions there, it doesn't really suggest that there was meant to be. I mean, like there was a bit of a downturn in like the second half of the solo section where we did like a key change or something like that, and it was sort of a bluesy pentatonic section. But I think that was mostly just to sound dope. Maybe not to show you that even if things do improve, there might be a sort of darkness occasionally. But either way, I still think it was well handled. And ultimately, yeah, it was just really satisfying. I've no real complaints about the theme there. Things sounded kind of nice and together, and I don't think there was a note out of place. But the studio recording, mixing, and mastering, the production, I think it was fine. Zhang Yusheng's vocals sound nice and present in the mix. So the backings, the guitar, keys. I mean, like the keys had a sort of nostalgic 80s tone to them, a bit of chorus and stuff like that. There was simple sort of broken chords played on top of that. The drums had a great sort of reverb to those snares as well, which made a bit of extra presence there. And things are nicely niched in a frequency spectrum with the bass down the subs. Things are nice one in the stereo field as well. The music that surrounds you, the leads when taking over from the vocals were tight as well. There was nice call and response again later on with the guitar going between the vocals and stuff like that. And when there was an extra lead on top of the chorus in the last part of the repeat there, it's niched nicely. It wasn't too prominent. I think there might have been less dynamic range in this particular version because it might have been uploaded a couple of times, and every time you re-upload a track, it can affect the dynamic range of it, like digitally or artificially or fragmentally or whatever. But either way, it was nice and loud without pumping, and I'm really glad I got to hear this track. So thank you very much for watching my review of this track from an actor named Zhang Yusheng. How to Learn to Fly. And hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please go check out Yusheng's various social medias. And I'm sure this will be on the digital stream platforms. There's this one album I didn't review of Yusheng stuff, which was a more recent one. It had all this kind of unreleased stuff, so I'm wondering if it's on there. And stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as either hell more than ever with crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next SC Patrons video. Spiderhands out.